welcome to my favorite money manifestation hacks. Just waiting for Facebook to hop on board and then we will get started. So excited to be chatting about this with you today. Money manifestation is one of my favorite topics. So I'm so excited to be sharing with you some of the hacks and the tips and the tricks that have really worked for me. So, in case you don't know who I am, I'm Kim. I help female entrepreneurs to unblock what's holding them back from success using their subconscious mind. I'm an RTT practitioner and a mindset coach, and basically, you're here today because you want to learn about how to manifest money better, which I am totally here for as well. So, a little bit of backstory about my money manifestation journey. Obviously, I was not born into a super wealthy family, I wasn't born rich. This is all something that I had to figure out on my own. And I think the really amazing thing is because so many of us, we have these limiting beliefs around what it means to make money and how you make money and working hard and all the things. But the thing is that money is always just responding to who you are being and what you believe. So the thing that is amazing about that is that you can change that. You can change your story about what you're telling yourself, and then that way you get to change how money responds to you. So let's wind back the clock to when I first started my first photography business. I was 19 years old, and I really had embedded that story that you have to work hard to make money, that if you work hard then you will be successful. And so I was working really hard, and after a little while I was really confused because I was I'm hustling so hard, but I feel the money is not coming. And I was really questioning, is this right for me? I was getting really close to being burnt out and questioning if I even wanted to have a business, because I was if this is what it takes to run a business, I don't know if I want to do it. And so at that point in time, I had been learning about the law of attraction, but I never really thought that you could apply the law of attraction to money. For some reason, hi beauty. I thought that law of attraction worked for everything but not money for some sort of reason. And so I never really thought to try and manifest money. I would try and manifest opportunities, and I didn't realize that I was basically blocking myself off from the money flow that I wanted because I had beliefs that really weren't serving me. So at that point in time, I just started to dive into everything that I could get my hands on about money mindset. And some of the things worked. I would sort of see success with it, and then it would feel like I kind of hit a glass ceiling with things and I couldn't push past it. And I was really confused because I was why is this working some of the time but not all the time? How am I blocking myself off from this? And if there's one thing I've learned, and I was literally chatting about this with a friend the other day, is that we don't realize it, but we're the ones who are blocking our own energy. If we have something that we want and we don't have it, it's not because of the external circumstances, it's not because of the outside world. It all comes down to what's going on within you and your energy around it, what you believe around money, all the things. So I kind of was diving into everything that I could learn about money mindset. And this is when I started to have that aha moment and be oh, it's not that I need to just work harder to make more money. That's a very employee based mindset. And most of us grow up being conditioned into that employee mindset where it's oh, if I work this many hours, then I'll make this much money. But that caps you out really quickly because there's only so many hours in a day that you can work. And when you become an entrepreneur, you really have to rework this mindset because you only have so many hours, and you shouldn't be the person trying to do everything in your business. You need to start looking at how can I leverage my time, or how can I use this one thing and make more money off it without me actually having to show up for it. And as soon as we start to have those thoughts, then that self-doubt kicks in, and it's who are you to have it be so easy? What do you mean it gets to be easy for you? I see this with so many of my clients where they're if I'm not working hard, then do I deserve it? And it's yes, you are absolutely deserving of having money that you want all the time. So the thing that really shifted things for me was when I started to work with my money mindset and realized that I needed to work on my beliefs and my feelings around money and what it meant to have money, because your subconscious mind will never make you a liar. And so that's why you need to go to the subconscious when you need to start changing your beliefs around money, because you can think that you want something on a conscious level. Like, of course we all want money, of course we all want success, but if on a subconscious level you don't have beliefs that are supporting that, you're not going to make it happen. And my really big aha moment came when I realized that money doesn't actually come from the work that you do. Hi. It comes from the universe. And I know this is a very weird sounding concept initially, but it's like your money doesn't come from your clients. Your money doesn't come from your job. It comes through them, but ultimately it comes from the universe. So when you tap into that relationship and that energy and that frequency and that flow with money, then you're opening up so many more portals for money to come in for you. So, here are my favorite hacks around how to change your money mindset, how to manifest more money. So, tip number one is, I sort of just like tapped into this, but working with your subconscious mind. And the thing is, like, your conscious mind is kind of the part that you have access to easily, but your subconscious is really where everything is going on. And I just want you to imagine that your mind for a moment is like an iceberg, it's floating in the ocean. And like an iceberg, your conscious mind is the top part of the iceberg that you can see above the water, and the bottom part underneath that is very much there, like that's what screwed things up for the Titanic, is the subconscious mind. It's the part that's underneath the surface. And 90, like, I've read different things around this, but it's like between 90 to 95% of your actions are dictated by your subconscious mind. So if we really think about this, like, it's like, yes, on a conscious level, you can want something, but like, what's going on in your subconscious? Say you have beliefs around like money, it makes people like evil or something like that. If that's what you believe on a subconscious level, think about the kind of actions that you're going to end up taking. You're not really going to take the actions that you need to make the amount of money that you want, because on a subconscious level you still have that belief that like money is bad. And we can't easily access the subconscious while we're awake and while we're like thinking about things. So that's why it's kind of hard to know what's going on in there. And it's hard to see our limitations, because usually we're carrying these beliefs around from a very early age. Your subconscious gets programmed from like 0 to 7, roughly 14. So you've had these beliefs your whole life, and so that's why it's really hard to imagine it being any other way. And we don't sometimes realize that those beliefs are affecting us because they are subconscious. It just feels normal to us. We can't imagine it being a different way. So your subconscious mind is basically getting programmed from the time that you start being in the womb. Like, I have clients where we've regressed them back to where their issues started, and they're like, I'm in the womb, I can hear my parents saying things. And I know it sounds wild, but it's taking in all the information around you, and your conscious mind filters out what you believe about the world, so you will just see more evidence of what you already believe. And about yourself as well, you'll like just be shown more evidence of like what you believe about yourself and the world around you. So the beliefs that you formed about the world as a child are what's running the show today. And so if the messages that you absorbed about money are like, we never have enough, or like money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that, if that was said a lot too, or like money is evil, or rich people are evil, you're gonna still be believing that on a subconscious level today, and then that's gonna be affecting the way that you manifest money. Your subconscious will never let you hold conflicting beliefs. It will never make you a liar. So if you decide that you want to manifest more money in your business, and your subconscious beliefs is that money is the root of all evil, or that like money doesn't grow on trees, you're going to really struggle with making that money, because on a subconscious level you believe it has to be hard. So unless you work really hard for it, you're not going to think that it can come to you any other way. So then you're going to end up having to work really hard for it. As an example, I had a client who had the belief that like people like her don't make money, or if she made a lot of money she would have to give it away to like her family, or like people would expect it of her. And so after we worked through, hi lovely, after we worked through her issues around like her believing that she is the kind of person that makes a lot of money, and if she has a lot of it, well, she can say no to people because she can have strong boundaries. She doesn't have to give it away. And after we worked through these beliefs, she had like $100,000 income month on top of her normal income. So it's really powerful once you start shifting those beliefs around like who you are and how money gets to respond to you. And when we're working with your subconscious mind, we need to go back to find out like what's the origin of those beliefs? Like when was the first time you started believing this? And the thing with events in the past is it's like it's never what actually happened to you that matters. Like I know that sounds wild, but it's the meaning that you create out of that event. So say your parents are like, I'm just going to use an example from my own life. Okay. When I was like, I don't know, probably 11 or 12, I really wanted to do like this other dance class. I was already in ballet. I wanted to take this other class, and my parents were like, we can't afford it. And so then I started to form these beliefs around like, oh, well, maybe I don't deserve to have the things that I want because I don't have enough money to do it. And it came down to like a belief about myself and my self-worth, and being like, oh, well, maybe if I was better, my parents would have said yes. And it sounds ridiculous, but it's like when you're at that age, you don't have your full rational thinking formed. So that's why you're making your decisions based on like that younger version of you and that younger version of you's belief about the world. So when you examine those like times where the money, like you started to form those beliefs, you have to reinterpret the events and choose that you get to believe something different. Like with that example of me in the dance class, well, I could just start to see it as being like, well, it didn't mean that I wasn't enough. It just means that my parents had other things that they needed to spend their money on, and I don't have to make it mean anything about me. And so the amazing thing about your beliefs is like at some point you chose to believe that, whether that was conscious or unconscious, you chose to believe that belief. And the amazing thing about choosing to believe a belief is that you can choose to believe something different for you as well as an adult. A belief is just a story that we end up thinking over and over again, and every habit of action is run by a habit of thought. And so I just wanted to share with you another story about one of my clients who she had this belief where you have to work really hard to make money. And so when we were going back to see what was going on there, she had like these beliefs around how, because she saw things be easier for like other kids in her class when she was really young, like this was in kindergarten, she saw like other kids seem to have it easier than her, and she just felt like it was this huge struggle. So she internalized this as making it like you have to work harder than everyone else to get the same results. And this was showing up for her in her business because she really wanted to scale to like $10,000 months, but she was like, how am I going to work that hard? Like I'm already working really hard as it is. And so it's like you can start to see how it's like those beliefs that you have formed about what it means to make money are going to inform how you end up making money. Because after we cleared out those beliefs, she was able to like hire someone to support her. She was able to scale to those $10,000 months with a lot more ease and not feel guilty when it was easy for her, because she knew that she could have things as easy as everyone else like appears to have them. Hi everyone who's joining, so excited to have you here. Hack number 2 is learning to dialogue with your mind. So I know everyone throws around the word mindset a lot, and we're like, what does that actually even mean? Like, what is a mindset? And to me, your mindset is just how you dialogue with your mind on a certain topic, in this particular case about money. So your mind always has a reason why it is doing something, and it might not be a reason that we like, but it always has a reason for doing it. It's always trying to do what it thinks that you want it to do. So it works like this incredible biofeedback machine where you're putting input in, it puts input out, or output out. Sorry. And so this is why you need to be really clear when you're dialoguing with your mind about what you want. And it can sound like almost too simple, but the thing is like your mind and your beliefs, we kind of reach a tipping point with things. So like you'll be believing something, and when you're trying to change to a new belief, it will feel very weird at first. It'll feel really unfamiliar. Your mind might have a lot of questions, and that's okay. Just knowing that that's normal. You just need to start swapping over to that new input. And instead of like being like, say you've got a belief around like, I don't know, like it's really hard to make money, or say that you keep saying like I can't afford it. Say that's like your go-to saying when you like think that you can't actually afford to do something, but it's like if you really dug into it and it's like, well, is that ultimately true? Like if you really wanted to, you could probably figure out a way to come up with the money to do something, but that sounds like a lot of work, so it's easier for you just to say, I can't afford it. So when you keep saying to yourself, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, this is what your mind is hearing, and then your mind is like, oh, well, you say this to me all the time, it must be true, and it will just keep showing you evidence of why you can't afford it. So instead of saying things like this that are completely disempowering and like cutting off any option for any other reality to come through, if there's something and you want to purchase it but you don't think you have the money for it right now, start asking yourself, how can I afford this? Because when you ask your mind a question, it has to give you an answer. But if you're asking, like if you're framing the question in the wrong way, then your mind isn't going to be able to give you an answer that's beneficial. So instead of being like, I can't afford it, start being like, how can I afford it? Or if I was going to afford it, what would it look like? And the more you keep asking your mind this, your mind is going to come up with some new answers because you've asked it a different question. And so this is what we say, like when I say mindset is just dialoguing with your mind, it's like being conscious of that like back and forth between yourself where you're like, how can I afford this? And it feels so much better as well. Like as soon as you say something like, I can't afford it, you just feel like depressed, like you don't feel good about it. But as soon as you start asking yourself, like, how could I afford this? Or if I was going to afford this, what would that look like? Then you open up for your mind to give you something better. And also, so, sorry, I just need to check my notes for a second. Oh, number 3 is start telling yourself a different story. So going back to the belief that a lot of us have, like that making money has to be hard, well, this kind of refers back to step 2 as well, because if you tell yourself that making money has to be hard, then your brain is like, okay, making money has to be hard. I'm just going to keep showing you evidence of why it's hard for you to make money. And when you have these stories and it's not empowering you, then it's up to you to start telling yourself a different story. And that when you first start doing this, it's going to feel so weird because your mind is hardwired to seek out what's familiar and avoid the unfamiliar, because to it, the unfamiliar is unsafe and it perceives it as a threat. So even if what's familiar to you is not serving you anymore, it's going to keep just going on that because that's where it feels safe. Your mind is designed to like allow you to survive and not to thrive. So some people like to use affirmations to swap this, but even sometimes affirmations can almost feel too polarizing because you'll be like, well, if you're writing down like, I am a money magnet, and your brain's like, no, you aren't, then it kind of creates this resistance for yourself. So you need to start like dialoguing with it in a different way. You need to be like, okay, like instead of being like, I'm super wealthy, you can be like, I'm the kind of person who becomes really wealthy. And your mind will probably have less resistance to that because it's like, I'm the kind of person that becomes this. It doesn't really have a lot of resistance around that. So you can start telling a different story by being like, I'm the kind of person who makes a lot of money. I'm the kind of person where like money flows to me really easily, until your mind starts to get used to these beliefs and like accept it in and feel like that seems like it could be a possible reality for you. Number 4 is I like to anchor in daily reminders, like where I can see it for myself every single day. Like when you tell your mind that you want it to focus on something, then your mind, like the more you focus on it, the faster you will get there. So basically putting things around your house, like I like to almost make my space into like a visual like vision board that anchors in everything that I'm trying to create. So putting like, whether this is like creating an altar for yourself with things that make you feel really abundant, whether this is creating a vision board, putting it somewhere where you're going to see it every day, or like writing affirmations, putting them on your wall. Another thing I like to do is like creating like affirmation reminders in my phone and just having it go off through the day. Every time you look at it, like say it to yourself out loud. You really want to be training your mind as to what you want to focus it on. And so when you're putting in these visual anchors for yourself, it just automatically programs your subconscious like to start believing these things. This is why advertising works, because it's like we see the ads and we're like, oh my god, that ad is so stupid. But it's not about the ad being a good ad. It's just about that brand creating that visual recognition and you seeing it over and over. And that's why they have like the catchy music and the colors and like a slogan. And that starts programming your subconscious to be aware of that thing, whether you're consciously aware that that's happening or not. So we can do the exact same thing with like reprogramming your mind to believe that you're really abundant. And number 5 is I really like to make money manifestation into a game, like feeling desperate around something, or like you have to have it happen, or like you're not going to survive, because the key energy behind money is like safety and security. So when you feel worthy of having safety and security in your life, you manifest money in with a whole lot more ease. So you want to get yourself into this place of feeling really like fun and playful around money. And if you're in like a really hardcore scarcity mindset, this can feel challenging, but just making it a game for yourself. And one of my favorite ways of doing it is like choosing the number that I choose to manifest. And this can be like either like money that you want on top of your normal income, or it can be like your income goal for the month or the week. It's totally up to you, just choosing a number that feels good to you and feels like relatively doable, because the rate at which we manifest is like how natural something feels to us. So if you're totally new to money manifestation, I would probably not advise putting $1 million down. I would say make it something that feels more like believable to you, so that you can kind of start showing your mind that this is possible and you can do this. And then so I'll write that number down like on a post-it or something where I can see it every day. And every single time money comes to me, I will subtract it from that number, cross it out, write the new total. And then you really start showing your mind like this is working. And it just kind of trains your brain, and it uses that same principle that I was talking to you about before. It's like where you have to choose what you focus on. And so when you start giving your brain like a problem, your brain wants to find a solution to it. So it starts automatically going to work looking for things to help you solve that problem. And you've just told it that, well, it's not a problem, but you're like, this is the thing I want you to focus on. So do we have any questions around money manifestation or anything that I just said? Just gonna grab some water quickly. And also, I guess like the 5th hack that is always important when it comes to manifesting anything is gratitude. Gratitude for like what you already have is like the signature energy behind inviting in more, because when you are grateful for what you already have, then you're vibrating at the level of already having that thing. So instead of being like, oh my god, how much money I don't have, because then you're just vibrating at the level of like, I don't have that money. So when you can start vibrating on the level of being like, I'm grateful for having a house, I'm grateful for like having food on the table, I'm grateful for my health, then you're just going to be a happier person, and you are able to attract in more money because you're vibrating on that level of already having what you need, and then the universe can bring more to you. And then also from like just like a physiological perspective, when you're in gratitude, you're shifting into that space of feeling safe. Oh yay, I'm so happy it was helpful. You're just shifting into that space of feeling safe. And so when you feel safe and secure, your body is not in fight or flight. When your body's in fight or flight, then that's when you basically are not able to make decisions from a very good place, because your body perceives that there's some kind of a threat going on. So that's why doing the inner work around installing that sense of safety and security is really important when it comes to manifestation, because when you're in that space, then you can take action towards what you want, because we live in a 3D universe. You're always going to have to take some kind of action. So when you are able to get yourself to that space of feeling safe and secure, then you're able to actually tune in and listen to that intuition and see what it has to say, so that you are able to go out there and do the things that you need to do to manifest the money. So I just wanted to say thank you everyone for joining us today. If you want to take your money manifestation practice a step further, then I would say sign up for my 24-hour money manifestation bundle. It's an incredible 5-video mini course that also has some tapping videos to remove any blocks around money. It has 50 money affirmations that you can use. It has phone wallpaper, and the whole thing is only $37. So you can get that by going to manifestationchallenge.co, or you can go to the link in my bio. It's there as well. But it also has a a manifestation, a meditation for creating your future life with intention. So it has everything that you need to get onto the pathway to start manifesting money within 24 hours. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining me today. If we don't have any further questions, I am probably going to hop off. But if you do have any questions, feel free to send me a DM. I'm always here to chat. This is one of my favorite things to help people with, because I really believe when powerful people who are doing good with their money have more money and have more resources, they can do better things in the world. So this is something I'm super passionate about, and I know if you're here and you're like a friend of mine on Instagram, I know that that's you for sure. So I hope you all have an incredible day, and I will speak to you soon.